Did you know that the main reason your beautiful, elegant orchid isn't blooming might actually be your fault? I know, it's a tough pill to swallow, but welcome to this explainer. We're going to completely flip the script on how you care for these stunning plants. If you've been staring at a pot of plain green leaves for months, or let's be honest, maybe even years, just wondering where the flowers are, well, you are in exactly the right place. Keep watching, because we're going to transform your orchid care routine to finally reveal those spectacular blooms.
So many of us do this. We bring home a gorgeous orchid in full bloom, we enjoy it for a few months, and then, when the flowers inevitably drop, we just kind of assume that's it, the show's over. There's a huge misconception out there that orchids only bloom once, and then they're just done. No way! The truth is, most healthy orchids can bloom year after year after year. If yours isn't, the culprit is almost always our own daily care routines. We literally accidentally kill them with kindness, or we unknowingly deprive them of the exact environmental signals they absolutely need to flower. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our diagnostic guide that's going to turn you into a total orchid whisperer. First, we'll look at why orchids fail to bloom. Then we'll cover perfecting your lighting, mastering water and nutrients, advanced care and bloom triggers, hidden threats to your blooms, and finally, wrap up with patience, consistency, and a few final tips. All right, section 1, why orchids fail to bloom. Basically, plants need a massive energy reserve to flower. It's like a giant battery they have to charge up. If you have a mature, healthy plant that still refuses to put out a flower spike, we really need to look at the environment. Indoors, the absolute #1 reason they fail to bloom is just insufficient light. Your plant's leaf color is your absolute best indicator of whether it's getting the light it actually needs.
Section 2, perfecting your orchid's lighting. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're looking for. You can diagnose your orchid's lighting situation immediately just by looking at it. If your orchid's leaves are nice, medium to light olive green, congratulations, you've hit the sweet spot. But if the leaves are really deep, dark forest green, your plant is starving for light. It's actually producing extra chlorophyll to try and capture whatever tiny bit of light it can. On the flip side, if you see red-tinged or scorched leaves, well, it's getting sunburned from way too much direct light. Now, if you want to get exact with it, check out these numbers. Different orchid genera have vastly different light requirements. A standard grocery store Phalaenopsis needs around 1,000 to 1,500 foot candles, but a Cattleya, that needs up to 4,000. And you don't need fancy, expensive equipment to figure this out either. You can easily download a free light meter app right on your smartphone to measure the lux or foot candles in your exact growing space. If your numbers are too low, simply moving the plant to a brighter east-facing window or maybe adding a small LED grow light could literally be the game changer you need.
Moving right along to section 3, mastering water and nutrients.
Let's move on and see how this builds on what we just talked about. Forget a strict watering calendar. You really need to look at the roots. Hydrated roots are green and firm. Thirsty roots, though, turn a silvery gray. You should only water when those roots have turned silvery gray and the potting bark is actually dry. Remember, in the wild, orchids grow on trees. They experience a natural wet-dry cycle. If you constantly keep them wet, the roots will turn brown and mushy, causing rot. Waiting for that silvery color perfectly mimics their natural environment and prevents you from loving them to death. So, alongside proper watering, orchids definitely benefit from a nutrient boost. Now, fertilizer will never fix poor light, right? But using a high phosphorus mix, something like a 3-12-6 or a 10-30-20, at about 1/4 to half strength during their active growth phase really encourages flowering. Just remember, orchids are very light feeders, and this is totally crucial. You must take a break from fertilizing when the plant is completely dormant or when those flower buds are just starting to open, so you avoid stressing the delicate new blooms. Section 4, advanced care and bloom triggers.
Now, what's really interesting here is that specific number, 10 to 15. A 10 to 15 degree Fahrenheit drop in nighttime temperature is the primary biological signal that tells many orchids, especially the super popular Phalaenopsis, to start producing a flower spike. See, during the day, they make energy through photosynthesis, but at night, cooler temperatures slow down their respiration, which means they consume less of that energy, allowing them to store it all up for flowering. It's fascinating.
So, here is your step-by-step recovery process to trigger those blooms. Step 1, confirm your plant has mature, healthy leaves and roots.
Step 2, ensure you have decent ambient humidity, ideally somewhere between 40 and 70%. Step 3, and this is the most critical, provide that nighttime temperature drop down into the 50s or 60s Fahrenheit for about 2 to 3 weeks. You see, our indoor heating and air conditioning systems often keep our homes at one perfectly constant temperature, which totally disrupts the natural environmental signals the orchid is waiting for. Honestly, just cracking a window at night in the fall is often all it takes.
Section 5. Hidden threats to your blues. Even if you do everything right and trigger a spike, there are hidden dangers. The most devastating of these threats is called bud blast. This is a completely heartbreaking phenomenon where beautifully formed buds suddenly turn yellow, shrivel up, and drop right off the stem of an otherwise perfectly healthy plant. It's basically the orchid's way of protecting its core systems by aborting the flowers when it experiences sudden environmental shock. So, what exactly causes this shock? Well, usually, it's sudden drafts from an AC or heater vent, extreme temperature swings, underwatering, overwatering, or even hidden pests like aphids and thrips. But here is a truly surprising fact. Simply having a fruit bowl emitting ethylene gas in your kitchen, like, say, ripening bananas or apples, can cause your orchid buds to instantly collapse. Literally? No way, right? So for sure, keep your blooming orchids far, far away from your ripening fruit. And finally, Section 6. Patience, consistency, and final tips. I want to read this quote because it hits the nail right on the head. A healthy orchid doesn't flower because it's been watered more or fed more. It flowers because it has built up enough energy. You simply cannot rush this process. An orchid operates on its own timeline, not ours. It can take months of steady, consistent care to build up the energy reserves needed to put on a spectacular floral display. So the crucial point is that consistent care combined with a little bit of patience are your absolute ultimate keys to success. By mimicking their natural environment and just giving them time, you'll be rewarded with stunning blooms. If you found this explainer helpful, please hit that subscribe button for more in-depth plant care explainers. And hey, be sure to share your own orchid triumphs or tragedies down in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. Quick pause for our standard disclaimer. This explainer provides general guidelines and should not substitute personalized advice from an experienced botanist or horticulturist. The orchid family is incredibly vast and diverse, so individual needs can definitely vary depending on your specific species. Which leaves us with one final thought. Are you ready to stop loving your orchids to death and finally give them exactly what they need to bloom? Go check those leaf colors, take a peek at those roots, and hey, maybe crack a window tonight. Your orchid is waiting to put on a show for you. Thanks for hanging out and learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.